All right, so those you got a letter, first of all, congratulations. But all that really means is you did decently with your grades in the first semester of 7th grade. I do want to kind of clarify, I don't know how many of you were told exactly why you got a letter by your teachers, but I want to clarify that, especially in case you have friends who are like, I don't know why I didn't get a letter. You can kind of pass that on. The letter is solely based on your first semester grade point average. And basically, if you got a letter, it means that your first semester grades, when you look at the semester total, not first 9 weeks or second 9 weeks, but the actual semester grades, that you ended up with what we factor on a 10.0 scale, which means basically your average is an A minus. But it's not enough. I have a lot of people who all the time will look and go, well, I had 4 A's and 3 B's, so I had more A's than B's, so I'm in. But that's not the case, because pluses and minuses matter. And so if you have a friend who's like, I think I should have been there, it's just they probably had a B minus, and it kept them from getting in. You had grades that were good enough to get in. All that letter means is that you are eligible to apply to National Junior Honor Society. And so what we want to do today is kind of explain to you what that is, what the application process is like, what then, if you are accepted in based on your application, what then you are committing yourself to do over the course of the next year and a half. And then you will make a decision in the next couple of days as to whether or not you actually want to go through with the application process. So first we'll talk just a little about National Honor Society. In terms of your obligations, you need to know that our group is a service organization, and that is our focus. So we get out and we work and we serve other schools and our community and even other communities. There are times we've been called to help out groups in Carmel, groups in Noblesville, groups in Indianapolis, as well as many groups in Fishers. And so that is our ultimate goal, is to serve the community. People who are in National Honor Society are required by the end of their 8th grade year, technically by the 1st of May of their 8th grade year, to have completed a minimum of 50 hours of community service. And I know that may sound like a lot, but it's not that difficult to do. 50 hours by May of your 8th grade year. And we even break that down a little more specifically. We have kind of little requirements that you have to do along the way. If you are accepted in, you would have to earn 10 hours of service by the end of 7th grade. And at least one of those is going to have to be an event that we personally have been contacted by people in the community and that we sponsor, that National Honor Society sponsors. The rest of the hours come from you going out and finding things that you do on your own. And I'll explain what constitutes service here in just a little bit. We don't require anything over the summer, although quite a few people do service over the summer to get to their 50 hours and get over their 50 hours, but nothing is required over the summer, because honestly we don't get contact a lot over the summer. And then the first 9 weeks of your 8th grade year, you have to do 10 more hours, along with another NJHS-sponsored event. The second 9 weeks of your 8th grade year, you have to do another set of 10 hours, including an NJHS event. And then in the second semester of your 8th grade year, which would be right now, you have to do another 10 hours. So if you kind of think about it, that right there totals 40 hours of service, and then you just have to do 10 more on your own, either within that time period or over the summer. So again, it is not super difficult, but you do have to have the ability to get to events that are not at our school. Most of the service hours we do are in evenings or on weekends, sometimes very early in the morning. We help out with some races and swimming events where people report at 5 a.m. in the morning on some weekends. But there's plenty of opportunity for you to get service hours. On your own, service is anything you do to help somebody else out in which you do not benefit. And that we are very lenient as to what service is, where we are not picky. The thing that we say is that it cannot be anything you do for your family. So watching your brother and sister, nope, that's something you're supposed to do. Helping your grandma mow her lawn, nope, that's something you should be doing. Helping your neighbor mow their lawn, if it's not your grandma, then yeah, that works as long as you don't get money for it. You do something to volunteer. If you get paid, because the person just, I know there are people like, I shoveled my neighbor's driveway, but they insisted on giving me, 20 bucks. Take that $20 and donate it to something. We'll give you the hours that you spent. Okay, as long as you don't benefit from it or a family member does not benefit from it, it is service. Things that you do with other organizations work. Things that you do at your church may work. There's a variety of things you can do. It is very, very easy. So that is the service aspect. Now, along with service, we do other things throughout the school. We are called upon sometimes to help work certain events, which you get hours for, but like we have a group of people coming in to help run and work with the International Fair this year. If you remember when you guys came into school, when the school started, you got your schedule. There were 8th graders here kind of walking you around, showing you where to go, helping guide you to classes. That could be some of you guys next year. We provide childcare at elementary schools. We help run games and things like that at different elementary carnivals, a variety of things. But we're also going to try to get more special kind of events set up just exclusively for you guys next year. In the past, we've done kind of game nights. I remember one year we built a miniature golf course in the school. That was fun. And we've had movie nights and things like that too. So it is it's a fun, enjoyable organization for you to belong to. Now, how to become a member is to complete the application. If you decide to do this today, you're going to pick up before you leave one of these yellow sheets, and it kind of walks you through the steps. And you'll notice there's a QR code on the bottom of this page, and you would need to scan that with your iPad, and that will take you directly to the Fishers Junior High National Junior Honor Society website, and actually takes you right to the page that has all the application information. And there will be PDFs of that letter, which is kind of semi-ironic on there, but people can find it on their own. There is PDFs of the application as well as recommendation forms. The application is not complicated. Okay? It is 4 pages, but the back page kind of walks you through specific directions and details, a little bit of information about yourself. Then there are a couple of pages where you kind of list things that you've been involved in just the past couple of years. You'll notice there's a 6 and a 7, because I don't really care much about 4th and 5th grade. I want to know what you did in 6th grade and what you are doing or have done this year in 7th grade. But don't freak out if you're like, I've never done service. I've never gone and worked anywhere. That's okay. That's not going to keep you out of a club. We just want to get a general idea of who you are. And we'll also kind of see these things addressed in the essays, because there is writing that goes along with this, and that is what is explained. There are 5 character traits that National Honor Society kind of represents. One of them is scholarship. Well, you've shown that, at least as of right now, you have met the requirement of scholarship because of the grades that you got. Service is one of those traits. Leadership, citizenship, and character are the others. And so you don't need to write about scholarship because we understand that, but there are 4 questions that you must answer as part of this application that each address one of the other elements. We have what does it mean to have high character? Why are you a person of high character? Provide examples of your life that support your claims. What qualities do you possess that make you a good leader? Explain times in your life when you've shown leadership in and out of school. What are your beliefs that make you a good citizen of our school and community? And why is service important to our society, and how have you shown service throughout your life? You'll answer each of those questions on its own individual page. They will be typed out, must be typed. I've got to even have down to like font size. You will include a word count because each of those writings must be between 250 and 350 words. If you turn in an application and one of those writings is 210 words, you didn't do 250, gone. Quick and easy to fix. So make sure that you follow the directions well. And I will tell you, the writing, that is significant. What you say and how well you say it, that is a significant portion of this application. So that is what you are in control of, is filling this out and doing those writings. You also must get 2 letters of recommendation from somebody outside of Fishers Junior High. One exception to that, I'll get to that in a little bit. You can go to past teachers, you can go to people that you have worked for, people in other groups, old coaches, those types of things, and ask them to complete a form. On the website, there is a recommendation form that they can fill out. They don't need to write anything. They don't need to type up a letter and send it to us. They can. They're more than welcome to. But all they need to do is complete this little form where they just check off how you rank in certain categories, and then they have the option of either giving it directly to you and you turn that in with your application, or they may choose to send it directly to us. And if that's the case, you will never see it. Because if I assume that if they send it to me directly, or if they give it to Mr. Brobiak directly, that they did not want you to see that, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter, we'll just let you know that it's been turned in. So, but you are responsible for contacting at least 2 people, and yes, you can have more if you would like, that's perfectly fine. Don't go crazy, because 2 is all you need. Having 3 is not going to like put you over the edge or anything like that. But you contact those people and give them the recommendation form, ask them to fill it out for you, and give them the deadline, which I'll get to here in a little bit, as to when it should be turned back into me. The one exception I talked about for Fishers Junior High, We will be sending an email out with all of your names on it. And I will send it to the entire staff of the school and say, if you have somebody in your class that is on this list, and we have a whole series of traits that we have them look at, I will say, give me any feedback if there are concerns concerning any of these things. And they will let me know. But that's only based on how you are in their classroom. So if you have a coach that is here, or a sponsor of a club of which you are a part, you can ask them to give you a recommendation form based on how you are for them as a member of their team or organization. Okay? Are we going to let them do faculty council?
No, because we wouldn't want to.
All right.
So we've always
That's
said
what we've
no.
always said no. So if you ran cross country for Mr. Broviac, don't ask him to fill out a recommendation form, because all of these applications are judged by our faculty council. Our faculty council will go through and read them all, and they will vote, and as long as a majority of the members of the faculty council approve your application, then you're in. So you cannot ask Mr. Broviac, Mr. Stump, Mr. Jansen, Ms. Oskey, Mr. Baker, Mr. Henderson, Ms. Watson, Mr. Zeno, or myself. I believe that's all of us. So, oh, and Ms. Otta, thank you. Or Ms. Otta. Okay, because they are all on the faculty council, will be reading your applications, and they'll be commenting on you anyway. Anybody else in the school, you can absolutely ask them if you are involved in an organization with them besides being in their classroom. Now, the debt...
On that real
Sorry,
quick.
go ahead.
You can ask like assistant coaches. Like if you can't have Stump do it, but if you play basketball, Modulin can do it.
Right.
You can't have me do it for cross country, but you can have Coach George do it. And so just because you can't have me do it, if there is another coach, you can ask them to do it, and that's absolutely fine.
Yes.
So I don't ban you from all cross country. It's just I can't be the one that would write it. Stump couldn't be it. Same thing with like Heiniger, same thing. So you can ask someone else, just can't be that person.
Okay, the applications are due by the end of the day on Friday, February 2nd. Now that's almost 2 weeks away. It's a little more than 2 weeks away. That is plenty. Honestly, I think it's the longest we've ever had for applications to be completed and turned in. We will not accept late applications. If you are sick on Friday, February 2nd, you need to find somebody to drive your application here to school, or you need to take a picture of it and send it in or something. Honestly, you should not be waiting until Friday, February 2nd to turn in your application, because that just means you procrastinate, and people who procrastinate tend to not follow through on their commitments, and then they don't show up on an event for that they volunteered for, leaving somebody else shorthanded, and then they get kicked out of National Honor Society. So get them in early. I know some teachers in the building who will not accept an application past normally Wednesday, January 31st. If you try to turn it in past that, it will be refused by your teacher.
That'd be the Heroes team. So just giving you a heads up, if you're on my team, don't even think about turning it in on that Thursday or Friday, because I'll just shake my head and go, we're not Globetrotters.
Normally I put up a fight.
Yeah. Now, Globetrotters, if it's an attack, prove my kids wrong, turn yours in early, because all I do is brag nonstop to their teachers how many of my kids have turned theirs in. So if you want to put me in my place, let your paper do the talking. Bring your paper in early, and then all of a sudden I can't talk as much.
Now, in terms of turning your paper in, you need to turn in your application when the parts that you control are done, which means you have filled out the front and all of these pages, and you've written your 4, I don't really call them essays, but your 4 responses to the questions. Do not wait for your letters of recommendation, because they may not be coming back to you. On the front of this application it says, and I'm going to stress this even though people are going to do this wrong, because, I don't know, you're 7th graders. As I turn in this application, attached to it are, which means when you are going like this to give it to Mr. Broviac, you're going to check that there are no letters of recommendation physically attached, or there is one, or there are 2. That's just so we can kind of glance at it and go, okay, we're still waiting for this person. They know they have 1 letter recommendation out. Do not wait till your letter recommendations are in to turn this in. Some people are good at getting them back right away. Some people are not. Okay? So you turn this in when you are done with those writings and you fill this out. And then you just check whether on how many letters you're still waiting on. All right? Because again, they may be coming directly to us. Because if they come to me, I may not even tell him until I get a whole stack of them who I have letters from. And to be honest with you, if you're missing one letter and we've talked to you about it and you said, I've given it to this person, we're probably not going to keep you out of National Honor Society because somebody is late getting a letter to you. But that being said, if they contact us, which happened last year, and they said, so-and-so just gave me a recommendation form today, and they said it's due tomorrow, which happened, what should I do? I tell them, well, it's your recommendation form, but you can give it to me whenever you want. If you need to wait, then wait. That's not a strong move on your part. Okay? And then I will tell you, a lot of you will contact teachers at Sand Creek. Okay? I know Mrs. Butts talks, I give her a heads up every year. Get ready, because here they come. She has gotten to the point to where you need to watch how you approach people when you're asking for a letter recommendation. They are doing you a favor. Do not contact them and say, I need you to fill out this letter of recommendation for me. You don't need anything. They don't need to do that for you. You need to ask them. Would you please fill this out? I am hoping to become a member of this. You need to show that you understand you're putting them out and you're asking them to do something to take their time away to fill this out for you. You need to be appreciative of that. Okay? And you need to thank them when they get it done, when they tell you that it's been submitted. And normally I will tell you, a lot of the teachers at Sand Creek just send them over to me. So don't necessarily expect to get that back from them. But make sure that you're doing it in a very polite manner. Now, we'll get into this a little bit later. We'll have it'll take us, they get turned in February 2nd. You will be notified on February the 13th, which is a Tuesday, that you have either been accepted or not been accepted. And let me stress, we don't have a number. Okay? It's not like people who get it in first get in, or if all of you turn in your application and all of you are worthy, then all of you are in National Junior Honor Society. Okay, so there's not like a set list and there's a cutoff at some point. We hope everybody can get in, kind of, if you're worthy. I'll get to my little negative speech to try to discourage you for signing up here in a second. But you will find out on that day, and then we'll have another meeting that day to explain what will happen on February the 16th, which is a Friday. If you know you're going to apply for this and you feel pretty confident about getting in, you need to block the night of Friday, February 16th off on your calendar and make plans to be here at school.
Like, as soon as possible. Like,
That is what we call our NJHS Super Happy Fun Night. It is a leadership building night. We will start directly after school and we will go till about 10:45 at night. And we will do a variety of activities for you to get to know each other, for us to get to know you, for you to understand leadership, and at the end of that night we will elect our officers. And you cannot vote for an officer or be an officer if you are not here. Okay? And it is one of the best nights of the year. I will tell you that. There's seniors back there. Yes, yeah. You coming again? Yeah. Warmus has been coming, since high school.
Freshman year she came back.
Yeah. So, I mean, she comes back all the time anyway. So that is a night that you will want to block off on your calendar. Okay? But February 13th is when you will be notified, so you don't have to worry about saying, oh, when are we going to find out? But February 2nd is the date. Now, the reason I say about discouraging, having a large chapter is nice because we can absolutely fill a wide variety of requests. Rarely does somebody ask us to do something that we can't either completely fill their request or come really close. But at the same time, every year we lose people from National Honor Society. This year, honestly, more than anybody we've ever had before. Now, we had an extremely large chapter last year, our biggest ever. But as a result, we've lost more than ever. One thing you need to think about are your grades. We don't know what your grades are in the past, and a lot of you guys, you guys make changes. 7th grade triggers a lot of people. You start doing a lot better. But what I try to tell people is that normally this semester's grades that you just finished with, they're normally your best grades in junior high. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to go down, but rarely does anybody get better as they go through junior high. It does happen, and it happens every year, but normally this is some of your best grades. Some of you guys who are right on that borderline, if you're going through your head, you're like, man, I had 4 A minuses and 3 B pluses. I just squeaked in. Okay, so now you need to think, are you going to be able to maintain those grades in this coming semester when things get more difficult? And are you going to maintain them when you're an 8th grader? If this is the first time you've ever gotten A's in your life, you may want to think. And now, it's not a big deal. If you sign up and then your grades drop and you get removed, we don't make a big spectacle of it. We don't sit around and post a list of all the kids who are now not in National Honor Society. Nobody knows. It doesn't affect you and National Honor Society at the high school. But that is something to think about. And same thing with the hours. It is a commitment. Okay? It is an absolute commitment to get 50 hours and to obligate yourself to 10 hours within a semester and committing yourself to do one of our sponsored events each 9 weeks. We've lost over 30 people this year because they could not keep up with the hour requirement and the service requirement. So that is something else to keep in mind. All right? But hopefully, all of you guys will buy into this and will throw yourselves behind it, and will make this an extremely strong chapter. There is a financial component to it. There is a $30 set of fees that you will pay if you are accepted. 10 of those dollars go toward a t-shirt that you are required to wear at all of our events. And then the $20 go towards our national dues that we have to pay, scholarships that we set up, and other events that we do. And then, of course, you got to pay for food on the overnight, so that's an additional $5. But I do want to make you aware of the financial obligation. Anything you guys want to say?
One of the first times, it's not a big issue with my kids this year. I don't know your kids or your kids.
It probably is an issue.
Behavior-wise, it's been a
no,
big
that's not
issue
an
in the past for us, is the fact that make sure you're not getting in trouble in classes.
That's a good point.
Personality-wise, if you clash with teachers and you get yelled at, that gets you removed from Honor Society. If you're smart but get in trouble, you won't last. We remove you for it. You cannot be a sneaky kid. You cannot be a kid that gets in trouble. Just being smart is not enough, because you're having all of these teachers write in recommendations for you. All the teachers here at school have to say, yep, this kid is not a problem. You have to be a leader. That's one of the other things. If you're a hero, and I'll talk about this in my classes, probably the same for yours, I expect you to lead if you become National Junior Honor Society. Anytime we have volunteers to do something, you volunteer. You are a leader. Anytime you're in a sport and you're Honor Society, we look to you first. You are becoming our leaders. So anytime we need people to lead, this is you. You are going to have to learn to step up and be able to take control of situations. That is the point of you being a leader in our school. It is not just being smart. It is not just helping. It is you also being this positive influence that is going to be helping everybody around you.
Hang on. Before you leave, you need to get a yellow sheet if you are interested. A video of this will also be on this webpage here in the next day or two.